welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of an empire pushed to the absolute brink. We're talking about a colossal cultural misunderstanding and an unexpected leader who stood up to a global superpower right when all hope seemed totally lost. So get ready because we are looking at the true history of the woman who declared war on the British Empire.
Okay, let's set the scene. It's Kumasi, the capital of the Asante Empire, and it's March of 1900. Now, at this exact moment in time, the British forces on the ground firmly believed they had already won the war. As far as they were concerned, the Asante Empire was completely subdued. I mean, think about it. The Asante king had been captured, their military power looked entirely broken, and their top leaders, they were sitting far away in exile. So looking around the capital, the British basically assumed that the only people left in this once massive civilization were, just folks too old to fight or too young to hold a weapon. They really thought the resistance was completely dead. But man, they were about to learn a very hard lesson about what happens when you back a proud nation into a corner. Because one insanely arrogant demand from a British governor was about to pose a massive question. Who is actually left to fight the British Empire? And the answer to that, it would completely change the course of history.
Part 1, Soul of the Asante. To truly get why this next moment exploded the way it did, we have to rewind just a bit. Back at the turn of the 18th century, long before European powers started carving Africa up into colonies, the Asante Empire was one of West Africa's absolute powerhouses. It was this thriving, wealthy empire built on military might, savvy diplomacy, and huge control over regional trade. Kumasi wasn't just some settlement, it was a dazzling city of gold and deep, rich culture. And right at the very heart of this empire was something incredibly unique: the Golden Stool. Now, you have to understand, this was not just a piece of furniture, and it was absolutely not your typical European crown. According to Asante oral tradition, which, by the way, is still central to their identity today, the priest Okonfo Anokie is said to have called it down directly from the heavens to unite the people under one single symbol. Whether you look at that literally or symbolically, the historical reality is exactly the same. The Golden Stool did not belong to the king. Actually, no human owned it. It was the literal spiritual soul of the entire Asante nation.
Part 2, the Queen Mother. So while the Asante Empire is navigating all this complex history, a girl named Yaa Asantewaa is born around 1840 in a town called Bisese. We don't have a ton of written records about her childhood, but historians do know she eventually rose to a position of immense prominence, becoming the Queen Mother of Ijisu. And here is the crucial thing. Being a queen mother wasn't just some symbolic, polite title for a royal relative. No way. She had immense, highly structured political authority. Queen mothers advised rulers, they had a direct hand in influencing royal succession, they acted as judges to settle disputes, and they actively shaped the politics of the entire kingdom. Yaa Asantewaa herself had earned this fierce reputation. She was known for her sharp intelligence, her unwavering determination, and just natural leadership. And, well, she was going to need every single ounce of those qualities for what was coming next.
Part 3, the British encroachment. Fast forward to the late 19th century. The British Empire is expanding aggressively and has become the dominant colonial power along the Gold Coast. Let's just walk through this timeline really quickly to put this collision into perspective. So you have the mighty Asante Empire founded in the 18th century, and our key figure, Yaa Asantewaa, born around 1840. By the time she's an adult in the late 19th century, the British and the Asante are locked in this series of brutal Anglo-Asante wars. Each of these conflicts leaves deep scars and systematically chips away at Asante power. But the real tipping point hits in 1896. The British arrest the Asante king, Asantehene Prempeh I. And they don't even defeat him in some massive, glorious battle. They literally just deport him into exile. The British figured this quiet little removal had finally broken the back of the Asante Empire for good. Part 4, an unthinkable demand. Which brings us right back to our starting point in the year 1900. Governor Sir Frederick Hodgson walks into Kumasi, gathers up the remaining chiefs, looks out at this defeated kingless assembly, and makes an absolutely stunning demand. He says he wants to be shown the Golden Stool, and even worse, he expects to sit on it. I mean, this just brilliantly illustrates a profound and disastrous cultural clash. To the British official, it's just a physical object, right? A throne made of wood and gold. In his mind, physically sitting on it proves the British Empire now owns the kingdom. But from the Asante perspective, that is an unthinkable sacrilege. No Asante king had ever sat on the Golden Stool. No chief claimed ownership of it. The very idea that some foreign governor would demand to rest his weight on the sacred soul of their nation
that wasn't just a political insult. It was a spiritual and cultural violation that threatened to completely erase who they were.
Part 5. A nation hesitates. You can just imagine the heavy, suffocating silence that filled that room right after Hodgson's demand. The remaining chiefs are sitting there, paralyzed. They're debating internally. On one hand, some are desperate to just keep the peace. But on the other hand, they know that giving up the stool means the actual death of their nation. But fighting meant triggering another devastating war. Their king was gone, their army was deeply weakened, and they knew exactly what they were up against. We're talking about the era's absolute greatest superpower here. The British had machine guns, modern repeating rifles, heavy artillery. The technological odds facing this weakened, kingless Asante army were virtually impossible. The hesitation among the men in that room makes total sense. They were staring down the barrel of total annihilation.
Part 6. The women will fight.
So the silence in that room just dragged on. The men are looking down. You could cut the fear with a knife. And then the queen mother of Ejizu, Yaa Asantewaa, stands up. She looks around at the assembled chiefs, looking dead into the eyes of warriors who had seemingly lost all their will to fight. And right then and there, she decides to challenge their hesitation. According to the version of her speech preserved in Asante tradition, she delivers these legendary words. "If you, the men of Asante, will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will fight." It honestly gives you chills just thinking about it. With that one single powerful declaration, Yaa Asantewaa shamed the men into action, united a defeated people, and sparked a massive rebellion. An elderly woman, standing in a room full of terrified men, single-handedly declared war on the British Empire.
Which leaves us with this final thought to reflect on today. What happens when an empire's soul is threatened? The incredible story of Yaa Asantewaa shows us that when the core identity of a people is pushed to the absolute edge, leadership can emerge from the most unexpected places. It proves that technological superiority and imperial might can still be challenged by the sheer, unyielding willpower of a people protecting their spirit. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.